Mate, can I say, I know you're busy, man. Appreciate it. Really an honor.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. Firstly, welcome back. Welcome back to the UAE. I'm an Australian, mate, but I've called this home. I've called this place home for 13 years. And when I see someone like yourself come here and do what you're doing, I get goosebumps, man. So I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and this isn't a bad place to call home, right? I mean, this place is pretty awesome.
Obviously, you had done a lot of stuff already here in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi, for example. But when the pandemic hit, did you already think, okay, I know where we need to get to?
No, I just knew we needed to get somewhere where we could fly people in and out from all over the world. And obviously, we had to make sure that we could lock down and test for COVID and all these things. And as soon as the pandemic hit and we started looking into it, we started to realize how dialed in Abu Dhabi was on this thing already. I mean, almost immediately, these guys had this thing under control and dialed in. So it started to make sense.
The facilities here, everything that you guys need?
The facilities here are insanity. Okay, we're staying at the W Hotel, and the level of service that we're getting at this place, not just me, my employees, the fighters, everybody who's connected to this event, the attention to detail here, and the food, and the restaurants, and it's there's no other place I'd rather do this. I'm telling you. And as this thing continues, I've had a relationship with these guys for 12 years. And we've been doing fights here forever. I'm telling you, the level of events that we're doing, the things that are going on here, this is going to become the new fight capital of the world.
We love that. This is what we like. I was at the first UFC that you put on here. Would have been, what, 12 years ago or so? I went down to Abu Dhabi. And for me, that was my that was my beginning, the journey of understanding what the UFC was all about, understanding what MMA was. I look back now and think, man, I saw Anderson Silva. I didn't realize it back then. Like now I look back and I go, wow, that was crazy. Did you always, obviously, when you created what you have and what you've done with the UFC, did you ever expect it to be what it is today?
I believe that it could be. You never really see it, how it really plays out and how it's going to, but we believe that this thing would work all over the world. Listen, doesn't matter what color you are, what country you come from, what language you speak. We're all human beings, and fighting's in our DNA. We get it and we like it. It doesn't have to be explained to us, and we're all fascinated by who the toughest people on earth are.
How are the fighters adjusting to it, man? That's one of the things that I've been trying to work out. Obviously, you guys are fighting at around 6 a.m. in the morning, our time. Are they staying up? Are you guys staying up? How do you adjust to it? How do the fighters adjust having to fight at this time of the morning?
It's actually been pretty cool. Obviously, you probably know as well as anybody does with the Australia Abu Dhabi thing. Your first 3 or 4 days are brutal. But then once you get acclimated, I feel like I'm in the States now. I feel great. And what happens is, like, let's say fight day. So some of these fights go off at like 3 in the morning. So you get up regular time in the morning, you do your things, you do what you got to do all day. And then you go to bed around 5 or 6 o'clock and you sleep till, 1 o'clock in the morning. Then you get up and start another day and, you go to the fights, and it's actually perfect. I'm very acclimated and good. Obviously, I'll be wrecked for 3 or 4 days when I go home, but it's all good.
Are you getting a lot of interest, obviously, from the fighters? A lot of them are sitting out right now, dying to get into that octagon. They see Fight Island, they're seeing it on the TV, they're seeing the beaches, they're hearing you. Are you getting a lot of extra calls right now saying, yo, I'm happy to fight. You name it, I'm there.
Yeah, people want to fight here, 100%. And I'm telling you right now, when I believe Abu Dhabi is probably going to be one of the first places in the world that opens up to fans, because they have everything so dialed in over here. And when we do, and we do an event here, I mean, the people have seen, we have showcased everything that this city has to offer, man. You see that octagon down on the beach, that shot we did on Saturday where it comes, from the sky down over the beach, with the pool on the beach, the bar, all the different restaurants that are here, and the hotels, and this is a destination. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. People are now realizing that Abu Dhabi is a bucket list destination. So I think that when we put on our first live event here with fans, people are going to fly in from all over the world. And it's one of the things that I want to work on, with the powers that be here, is making, like, when we open it up to the fans, make the whole week something cool to do every day. There's some almost like when we do International Fight Week in Vegas, but doing that here in Abu Dhabi, because there's so much to do, so much to see, so many great places to eat. It's going to be awesome.
Make us proud, bro. You make us proud. I mean, you become an ambassador for the UAE. I don't know if you know that, but you are now. We look to you and what the UFC's doing. We were already on the map in Abu Dhabi with Yas Island and Ferrari World and everything that we've got there. But the fact that you guys are showcasing it to the world, and what I love about the UFC, I think you guys are introducing new people every single week. There are people that weren't sure that they wanted to be involved. Even my fiance initially, like, I don't know if I'm not into fights. Now she's into it. It's not just about two men or two women getting in the fight. It's everything about it. It's the drama. It's the cinematography of it. It's the way you shoot it. The way that we're looking at Abu Dhabi. So I applaud you on that, man. Who's the most exciting fighter that you've ever seen? Is there one fighter that you've just gone, wow, this guy? Oof.
As you go through the different generations of the UFC, there's always some standouts. We had Chuck Liddell, who was a big standout for us. Georges St. Pierre was a huge standout for us. Ronda Rousey was a huge standout for us. Conor McGregor. And now, I mean, if you look at this COVID era and what's happened, it's hard not to look at Hamzat as being, this guy went from $30,000 to $900 since his first fight here, which was 7 to 8 weeks ago, if that. You know what I mean?
How crazy is that he just kept coming in and dominating it? At any point, as the president, are you like, yo, just relax, we'll get you on, let's talk in a couple of months?
The two guys that he fought over here on Fight Island back to back were real guys. I mean, these were guys that were just getting into the UFC, but had serious credentials. And he made it look easy. So I was like, this dude is special. Then we bring him over to Vegas. And Jesus, look what he did in Vegas. One punch.
Yeah.
A one-punch knockout of a real guy. This guy is by far the biggest standout. And then you look at last weekend, what Buckley did, right? And as viral as that went, 53 million views that knockout got. 53 million views. And it was only Saturday. Right? Today's Tuesday. Yeah. That was Saturday. And it had 70 million impressions worldwide. So, I mean, that's a moment in somebody's career that you literally dream about. I mean, that kid is living the dream right now.
Who's the hardest fighter that you've ever had to handle, inside or outside the octagon?
The hardest to handle, to deal with?
Yeah, you're a father figure to many. You're an older brother. You're a lot of these younger guys come in and, I've seen you obviously on the shows and the different shows that you do. I see how you come in, and what you have is you have respect, which is not easy to get, right? And you have that. So you obviously have to put that down into place sometimes. Is there one fighter that you're like, yo, let's do this. You got to do it.
Yeah. I would say the hardest kid that I ever dealt with, and everybody thinks that I don't like him, it have to be Woodley. Woodley's the hardest kid I've ever dealt with. It's just, I look at what he could have done and what he should have done. Good looking kid, physique, the whole thing, becomes a world champion, has that knockout power, has all the tools and everything else, but it's just always pulling teeth with him, man. It's always about something else other than the fight. That he's probably the hardest kid I dealt with.
Will Conor be back in the octagon?
Definitely. We're working. We've offered Conor a fight with Dustin. Dustin's accepted. Obviously through this pandemic, we're on our 32nd event since the pandemic started. Some people haven't done one event, or some people have done a couple. We're on our 32nd event. So we have this year all planned out. So Conor came back. He wants to fight. The stuff that he said, I want to fight Dustin in Ireland. So we offered him a fight with Dustin. We got him his own date, date that we didn't have scheduled before. It's in January, and we're just waiting for his response on the offer.
I was listening to Joe Rogan and Mike Tyson, obviously recently on the podcast. Mike was saying Mike was saying that he wanted to go. He thought about wanting to jump into the octagon to do what they're doing in the UFC. He wasn't sure that he was probably taken seriously, and then he's like, "But I really wanted to do it." Did you ever hear about that offer? Was there any actual talks of getting Tyson inside?
I love Mike Tyson so much and have so much respect for Mike Tyson that I would never make a fight with him in the octagon. I wouldn't do it. And the truth of the matter is, my fighters have so much respect for Mike Tyson and love him so much. I don't even know if anybody would want to take that fight in the UFC. And not because they're afraid or anything, just it's the level of respect. When Tyson comes to the fights, he sits with me at my table, right? And when fighters walk into the octagon, they're in fucking awe. They're like, oh my God. Like some of them come over and, pay their respect. And Glover Teixeira's fight, and when Tyson was there, he just walked into the octagon. He's about to fight, and he was freaking out that Mike Tyson was sitting octagon side. He came over and started talking to him and everything before the fight. And it's just there's so much respect there that I love Mike Tyson.
Likewise, man. I had a chance to interview Mike, and what I thought I was going to. I don't know. It was weird. I had this misconception or the stereotype of Mike, and then when I sat with him for a good 30 minutes, I just looked. I said, "This guy's cool, man, Mike Tyson."
Right?
100%.
Awesome.
100%. I just want to talk about you. How do you maintain what you do? Obviously, you are a very busy man. You continue to upkeep not only the company but yourself. It seems also physically. I'm asking selfishly for some advice right now. I run a radio show. I have my own company on the outside. I've got 2 daughters. I'm managing a bunch of things. People ask me, how do I do it? And in the back of my head, I just think to myself, I just keep going. But I'm asking, you're one of my mentors. You're someone that I do look up to. And even though we've never met, and this is the first time that we've actually spoken, how do you do it? What do you do? Give me a little bit of insight. I'm being greedy right now, Dana.
Well, thank you, first of all. And listen, I have always had this drive, and the key to everything is that I love what I do. I love this sport. I love the team that I have built that helps me run this sport. I love most of the guys and girls that are involved in this sport. I can't say I love them all because I'd be a liar. I love most of them. And when you love what you do the way that I do, it's actually easy. And I'm one of these people, I'm always trying to, all right, this is what we did this year. This was the best year. You'll hear me every year. Every year I'll tell you, this was the best year in UFC history. Because it was. Because every year we continue to take it to that next level. And part of doing the things that we do and working as hard as we do, you also have to take care of yourself. And unfortunately, I'm one of these guys that when I'm into something, I'm all in. So if I'm into being bad, I'm all in, and it's bad. And then I snap out of it and I say, okay, I got to be good now. And when I get into being all good, I'm all in. But I think that ever since my shoulder surgery, I had shoulder surgery like a year and a half ago, I found this really good balance in my life, more than I've ever been. I've literally worked out consistently every week since my shoulder surgery a year and a half ago. And now when I travel, like here at the hotel, they built me my own gym here on my floor. You literally walk out the door of my room, and a couple doors down is my gym. And I heard Bruce Buffer was complaining that I stole all the dumbbells in the gym. I heard Buffer was filing complaints with the hotel that I took all the dumbbells. But they built me my own gym up here. So every day when I get up, I go work out in the gym, and you have to have this. But plus, I love food. I love food. I love candy. I love all kinds of shit. So you have to work out. You have to work out, not just to physically take care of yourself, but mentally too.
The saber-toothed tiger skull in your house, that's legit. What's that all about?
Yeah. So back in 2008 and 9, when the economy crashed, a lot of these museums were in trouble financially. So they started auctioning off really cool stuff that they would have never got rid of in a million years. And that thing went up for auction. And I dove in on the auction and I ended up getting it. It was literally, it was bidding up. And I told my secretary, because we did it over the phone, I said, this is my last bid, put in the last bid. And we put it in and we thought we lost it. And then like 2 minutes later, they said, you got it. You won the bid. And I love it. It's one of my favorite things. I'll never get rid of that. And I don't know if you just saw, but last Friday or Thursday or something like that, Christie's auctioned off a T-Rex, a full T-Rex.
Right.
The bidding started. I was going to jump in. I was going to do that. I was like, I don't know where the I'm going to put this thing, but I'm going to bid on this thing. But I was over here and I kind of forgot and all this stuff happened. It started at $3 million. I went for something like $33 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
so I'm glad I didn't waste my time bidding on that.
Mate, I love it. Dana White, president of the UFC, hanging out in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. An absolute pleasure. As I said, we're so grateful to have what you've brought here, especially not only just for the UAE, but for the world, man. I get nothing, the joy of being able to watch the UFC right now, as we all live in some sort of a bubble with this virus, man. Mental health, I think, is so important. And little gains like this, being able to watch these fights, it's something that I look forward to every single week. And I know that there'd be millions across the world doing the exact same thing. So to you and your team, we want to say thank you. So we appreciate it.
I really appreciate that, man. And nice to meet you, and thank you for all the kind words.
Virgin Radio.